Hey guys, as requested by a lot of you, I'm gonna be reviewing two videos by this guy called Clavicular. It's about raw food and the carnivore diet.
What's going on, guys? Today we're going to look at one of the most absurd trends I've seen on TikTok, which is going to be the primal, but specifically the raw diet. These people are so delusional, they'll make claims.
It's absurd and delusional to eat what humans eat in nature. Okay, great premise. By the way, he should fix his microphone. It's making strange clicking sounds.
Seems like toxin accumulation is what's actually causing your dark eyes, not genetics. Firstly, let's
Not necessarily the toxins directly for the most part. It's the stress that it causes in the body, and the dark eye circles are a response to the stress. That should be clear. What genetics? Are you born with dark eye circles? No, you develop them slowly. You could develop them as a child already, but the more stress you have, the more you exercise, lift weights, sprint, jog, especially if you run marathons, the more coffee you drink, tea, the darker they will get because of the stress. There's nothing to do with your genetics, as in zero. It's the same as saying that acne is genetic, literally 0%, only caused by your diet, toxins.
take a look into raw milk. Is it necessary? Let's talk about the pasteurization process. So just think to yourself, why the hell would these manufacturers go out of their way?
Exactly, why would they? And when you look at the history of it and who's behind it, then it will be clear.
To do this expensive high heat pasteurization process if it actually wasn't necessary? They fucking wouldn't.
Right, is it necessary? Oh, of course, he's gonna talk about bacteria, parasites. I have a whole video on that. I will link it in the description. But if that's your logic and you will say that there's dangerous microorganisms in milk, such as cow's milk, you do know where it comes from the cow itself. So the cow itself had dangerous microorganisms living in the cow, then how was the cow alive? If they are bad for an animal, or if you get breast milk from your mother, the microorganisms in the milk are from your mother. So how was your mother alive or healthy if there's dangerous microorganisms in the milk? This is all a theory. This has yet to be proven. There's never actually been any scientific proof anyway, but no proof at all that these microorganisms cause disease. There's a theory because they are found in places where there's damage and toxicity that they cause it. But it's just a belief.
High heat pasteurization is required to kill microorganisms like pathogens and parasites. So no, high heat pasteurization isn't some huge conspiracy theory to tank your testosterone levels. It's actually for your safety. Now,
right, but all that you did was simply present text. It's like a Christian showing texts of the Bible on the screen and then saying, this is the proof that you should follow Christ and that Christ is the only way. Okay, that doesn't prove anything. You would need to prove the causation or the existence of it. It's the same as saying that cholesterol causes the plaque in the arteries. Just because it goes there to heal the damage doesn't mean that it causes it.
obviously the same is going to apply to raw meat, right? So cooking your food is a necessary process for reducing the risk of foodborne illness. So what exactly are these?
You get ill from raw meat or any food if you get poisoned. That's why it's called food poisoning. And the most food poisoning comes from vegetables such as spinach, meaning that if you want to go by this logic, you should be making videos against vegetables.
Now, there's been multiple hospitalizations caused by kidney failure from E. coli. And you might see someone in a comment section every...
Again, you would need to prove that E. coli caused it. Can you? That has never been proven.
once in a while say, oh, I've been eating raw meat for 5 years and I've been totally fine. Well, you're still rolling the fucking dice regardless, and you've just gotten lucky up until this point.
Yeah, but people get food poisoning all the time. You can for sure get food poisoning from raw meat also. Not necessarily lean meat. I've never seen that, but if you eat meat from unhealthy animals, especially organs, then for sure you can, if there's a lot of accumulated toxins. Yeah, but not from a healthy cow, for example, that just lives naturally. The cow didn't get anything and the cow just eats grass. If there's nothing toxic inside of the cow, why would you get food poisoning from the cow if the cow has nothing inside? Makes no sense. But yeah, when the cow has been treated, let's just say, then of course you will get what's inside of the cow. That's how it works.
So I suggest you cut your losses here. Well, surely, Clav, there's a reason that all these people are doing this, right? You know, there's got to...
The logic behind it is as if he's saying the bacteria, for example, in the meat is bad. And that's why if you eat animal flesh, which is raw, you eat the bacteria. Okay, but then how is the animal alive if there's bad bacteria inside of the animal? Then the animal would have to drop dead from the bad bacteria, or at least get in some way sick, whatever he's arguing for. But it doesn't happen. So it's completely illogical.
Be some appeal. Now, if we look at the meta-analysis consisting of 40 studies comparing raw versus pasteurized milk, we come to the conclusion that it slightly lowers minerals. So water-soluble vitamins like...
It destroys all the vitamins, and the minerals will be not as bioavailable. What's the secret here? It's heat. Heat destroys vitamins, nutrients, obviously.
Vitamins B, C, and folate get reduced by 20 to 50%. Wow, that's really significant, right? Well, guess what? It was never a significant source of these vitamins to fucking begin with, so use your head. So these carnivore gurus are...
Such a strange video. I don't even know if he's really serious. It's not important, and why is it there naturally? It's just the natural amount of nutrients in the food. It's like saying that the nutrients that you get from being breastfed don't matter. You can just get 50% less. Besides not even understanding what else happens in the process of pasteurization, especially if it's really high heat pasteurization. Why would you even risk it in the first place?
Completely lying to you by blatantly leaving out key nuance. Imagine I had 50 cents and I reduced it by 25 cents. Do you think I give a fuck? The difference is so small that it doesn't act...
What do you mean, man? For example, in meat, if you cook meat a lot, you reduce the nutrients by 80% approximately. Depends how much. You can also destroy almost all of them. So if that's what you eat all day and you're getting... let's say 10% of the nutrients that you would be getting, and there's another guy next to you eating raw meat getting the leftover 90%. Who's going to be healthier, have less dark eye circles? Who's going to sleep less, have a higher testosterone, and so on? What the hell is this? This is so stupid. Hey, what is your body even made out of? How do you function in your everyday life? What makes you happy? It's in the first place the nutrients that you're getting from your food. If you get 10% or even 50% of the nutrients, you're going to be functioning at 10 or 50%. Huh?
Actually matter, and it's what's called negligible. So since this change...
Negligible is what's considered to be under 2%. Not over 50%.
Is so negligible, it really isn't worth noting the nutritional...
Man, 50% is not the definition of negligible in English at all. You're just misusing the word.
Superiority, because it is so fucking small in comparison to the risk factor that you're putting yourself at. And you'll hear another absurd claim about raw milk that it's superior...
Yeah, but there's been like what? I think 19 cases of food poisoning from raw milk in the last 20 years or something. I remember posting the statistics. It was a very small number.
Pasteurization denatures proteins, but they fail to mention that denatured proteins are still digestible within humans. So aside from the blatant health risk, there's a lot of talk about the hormones within raw milk being so necessary for developing young kids. So let's talk about it. You might have heard before that there's HGH in this raw milk. Oh, it's this God serum. But no, it is not HGH. It's actually bovine growth hormone.
This is not even a good thing anyway. Maybe during puberty you can argue about it, but generally growth hormones are just aging hormones. So drinking milk later on in your life or whatever else would have growth hormones, it's going to be found in small amounts in a lot of foods, but when you're getting large amounts, which you're not really getting from milk, but still, it's not something that you want because it's supposed to make the cow grow into a really huge cow. You don't want to be aging that much drinking a lot of raw milk.
Now let's address the holy grail of copes about raw milk, which is going to be these magical enzymes, right? So the enzymes that are allegedly supposed to help you digest this magical raw milk aren't actually necessary because your body endogenously produces every single enzyme it needs for digestion. So raw milk, more expensive, harder to source, no tangible...
Yeah, but it will still be harder to digest it. What's strange about this is that he clearly hasn't even tried eating that way. He cannot even talk about this anyway. I get that he's young and he just doesn't get it. I also didn't know anything about it at his age, but I think that I would have been open to it if somebody would have told me about eating raw food. I was just a curious guy. He seems to just completely block it out, post some religious texts without even trying it himself, even though he would know how much better he would feel. And the biggest joke with this is that apparently he's on Accutane, which essentially just blocks your immune system. It doesn't let you detox anymore from the toxins. That's what causes acne. It's just your white blood cells getting the toxins out through your pores. If he would be eating natural food, he would have no acne. But he's also on tren or some kind of steroids. As far as I know, I reviewed a video of his many months ago. He's probably still on the same stuff then. He seems to be serious, but it's really strange to promote Accutane instead of telling guys eat naturally and you will have no acne, and use steroids instead of eating naturally and you will have naturally high testosterone. Yeah.
Superiority, really. So really just a complete fucking waste. Now you might hear, oh, well, there's been more E. coli breakouts at, restaurants. And you might hear from these people, well, there's more of a risk factor to eat out at restaurants. In no point in this video did I suggest that you waste your money to go out to a restaurant. So the whole raw diet is really just wretched and disgusting for no reason at all. Raw milk is not going to give you positive canthal tilt and a forward-grown maxilla. It's just the cope.
The fat-soluble vitamins, as proven in my black pill video, develop your skull. So of course, not if you're 20 already, but if as a child, when you grow up, especially when you're very young, when your skull is forming, of course, yeah, the fat-soluble vitamins and minerals will be everything. It will absolutely change the form of your skull, cheekbones, jaw anyway, completely. Even eyes, everything. It's a given. Yeah, he doesn't understand anything. That's the thing. He probably believes that it's just all magical, genetic lotteries, and it's just all random, and that's how life works. And no matter what you eat, you're never rewarded for it by nature, because you can just eat whatever you want and use drugs. Yeah, just disconnected from reality, from nature.
Fortunately. Now, natural options aren't always going to be better. It's 2020.
They will always be better. It's impossible to get around nature. Everything natural is good for you, and everything unnatural is bad for you. No exceptions.
And science has gone a long way. Instead of opting for non-bioavailable bovine growth hormone, I'm personally going to opt for exogenous HGH. I'm always going to favor science instead of fear-mongering and
Man, I don't think that anybody is going to get through to this guy. He will have to learn the hard way, unfortunately. Yeah.
Speculation when it comes to my looks-maxing endeavors. If you want to learn about pharmacology and science instead of nonsensical copes, check out the school...
Yeah, the biggest delusion is really just thinking that you are above nature, that you can get around it, as if you can look the best, develop the best by ignoring nature or somehow getting around it through science and man-made drugs, even though it's impossible. And he proves it actually by using the tren and whatever and the Accutane. He actually just debunked himself.
What's going on, guys? This is going to be part 2 of the video series on the carnivore diet. and why it's complete fucking nonsense. This video is going to be more geared towards why ketosis is not conducive to looks maxing or hypertrophy whatsoever. So the carnivore diet almost completely eliminates carbohydrates from their macronutrient profile. This is such a laughable diet because it completely removes one of the most important growth mechanisms, which is going to be motor unit recruitment. Without carbohydrates converting to glycogen, the amount of motor...
Yeah, I already made a lot of videos about this. I also don't agree with the carnivore diet. There's really not much to disagree on because all of these people crave carbs like crazy and imitate them nonstop.
And that's going to be conducive to looks maxing because, as we all know, lean is law. Another flaw with the...
Lean is law. But the leaner you get, the worse you look. You should have a normal amount of body fat. Look at the guy, what's his name, Jordan Barrett? He looked when he lost all the body fat. This obsession with being very lean it's just unhealthy, but it just also, as far as looks maxing goes, just looks really bad.
Carnivore diet is going to be how fat dense it is. Fatty meats like steak have terrible protein to fat ratios, usually at about 80% protein and 20% fat. And the thing that you have to consider is every single gram of fat is double the calories of a gram of protein. More actually, since it's 9 calories per gram of fat versus 4. Dietary fat does not contribute in any way to any necessary growth pathway that's going to actually give you gains in the gym. And you might say, oh,
What? From the fat you get the fat-soluble vitamins. Except if you eat organs also, which most people don't today. Getting vitamins A, D, K2 is impossible otherwise. It's only going to be found in the animal fat. Wow, what a crazy recommendation, man.
dietary fat is necessary for the synthesis of testosterone, but it is so clinically insignificant, it's not even worth mentioning. So it just...
You will have low testosterone if you don't eat enough fat, because even though you can produce your own cholesterol, and for the most part it is produced by your own body, also a pretty big amount would be from your diet if you would eat the animal fat. That's why, as proven in studies, vegans have such low testosterone and low cholesterol also. Really, a lot of it does come from the diet. You cannot just keep producing it yourself.
Completely blows my mind that people are eating a macronutrient that's double the calories with no additional benefit. Actually, no benefit at all. So you absolutely should not be doing the carnivore diet at all.
Man, this is one of the worst videos as far as diet, nutrition goes, development. If somebody actually takes his advice and feeds their children a low-fat diet, it's going to be a disaster for their development. That's exactly what you should be eating for a well-developed phase.
Cost considering all of these things. Let's talk about testosterone levels as well. People who do low-carb diets often experience lower testosterone levels. In conclusion, these ketogenic...
Yeah, that's why you should be eating a lot of animal foods, but also some carbohydrates, not zero carb.
Carnivore bullshit diets are not conducive in any way to looks maxers, and they should just be thrown into the trash. I get it, you are trying to be natural, but it is bullshit for looks maxing. These diets ruin your thyroid function, they completely destroy your gains in the gym, and are just horrible overall, so why would you do them?
I'm not sure if this guy is actually serious. I'm leaning towards yes, but is it possible to be this ignorant when you look into a topic? Or maybe he just never did. He never tried it himself. It's possible. He's still relatively young. Maybe really close-minded, and maybe that's why he just didn't. It's just strange to me because it would not take a lot to actually find out how wrong you are. But I guess that if you are only looking for these specific answers, which would be called confirmation bias, I suppose, then that's all that you will get, and then that's all that you will believe. Maybe that's the case here, because it's very easy to actually disprove everything he said, which I partly did in this video, and as I said, I will also give you the link to the bacteria parasite video. I think that, like I said before, he will have to learn the hard way in the end. The drugs will age him like crazy. He will not be able to produce his own testosterone anymore. if he takes what I think he takes. The testicles will shrink. The acne will not go away. At the very best, he will destroy his immune system. And by best, I really mean worse, but to him, it will seem like it's a good thing because he will not be getting acne anymore. His logic is eat whatever you want to, eat toxic garbage, get acne, and then block it with drugs by destroying your immune system instead of not using the drugs and simply not eating toxic food, and then you won't get acne. It's a natural fix to your problems, and then you will have healthy skin. You will generally look very healthy, which also makes you look attractive, seeing as his channel seems to be about improving your looks. The very, very best way to improve your looks will be, of course, by improving your diet, except if we are talking about some kind of hardcore surgeries, but that doesn't actually change you as a biological being. That just changes your appearance. You cannot, for example, give that to your children genetically. You will still stay the same being. If you want to actually change who you are as a biological being, then the only way is by eating naturally. And then over the generations, your children, grandchildren, and so on will become more and more attractive. If you're gonna use drugs, surgeries, Accutane, whatever, you're just gonna give the illusion of having some improvements in some ways here and there, but you're gonna be even sicker in the end and have even sicker and worse looking children. It's just gonna completely go downhill. If your way of living would be working, then why would you need the tren or whatever he's using and the Accutane? Him using that already disproves his lifestyle. Do you think that people want to join your community and then use drugs instead of actually being healthy without drugs? Do you think that anybody really wants that? People at the end of the day just want to feel happy and healthy. That's really what people want. You're just gonna destroy people's health, you're gonna make them depressed, and long term you will destroy their lives. But he really does believe that he can somehow go around nature, and that will be his downfall in the end. Thanks for watching.